Properties are like people. Every person you meet is different.
What advice would you give to any property management?
You never know what conversation is going to lead to which door, window, opportunities.
Yeah.
If you say no, then they will lead to nothing.
Welcome back everyone for a new episode of the podcast. Today I'm with the Vice President of Lamir Management and a new tech startup called Kompas. It's a software, accounting and property management software. Cory Friedman, how are you, Cory, today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Adam. Super excited to talk both about Lamir and obviously, more importantly, my new venture, Kompas. So Kompas is an all-in-one property management platform that is really centered around accounting. You know, my background as a CPA, I'm basically CPA turned property management executive turned prop tech founder. So an interesting evolution, and it's a beautiful thing about living within a business and having a problem and trying to find your own solution, and that's kind of where my story lies.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're gonna talk a bit about how you end up doing this tech startup, your role also in Lamir Management. But first, can you just tell us how basically you're in real estate, because we're talking about
for sure. So my background's in accounting. I'm a CPA and I used to work at an accounting firm, all while my family was invested in real estate and had their own property management company. So this is dating back actually 3 generations to my grandfather that in the late 60s and 70s, started investing in small properties in Montreal, 5 units, 8 units, 10 units, bigger properties, and it kind of snowballed and got to a certain point where my dad and my grandfather were able to start up a property management business known as Lamir Management. So Lamir is really Lawrence, my dad, the La, and Mir, my late grandfather, was his name. So that's the story behind Lamir. And when I left the accounting life, it was the natural transition to go and work with my dad, with my grandfather, and with my brothers as well, and really to grow this property management family business.
So you already invest in Montreal since late 60s, 70s?
Yeah.
Do you guys are basically you immigrate here, or you always from
here? My grandfather came during the Second World War. He came from Poland, and him and his father came from Poland, and he actually became he was an electrician at first by trade, and then was taking night classes to become an accountant, and got his CPA. Actually finished second in Quebec in the 1950s, I think. He was a very ambitious guy, and him and his dad started investing in real estate in the 60s and 70s, and also had an accounting practice, and all of his clients in the accounting practice were within the real estate ecosystem. So construction, development, condos, rentals, the works, but these were the people that were building up the city and suburbs in and around Montreal throughout the last 50 years. And what's funny is that my grandfather always believed in the long-term value of real estate, and that these are assets that are not for you, they're not for your kids, they're for your kids' kids, right? And that the longer you hold, there's no selling for him. You don't sell properties, you buy them and you manage them and you maintain them, and they appreciate over time. And a lot of his clients who had all this real estate were getting older, and they were getting tired of the grind of taking care of these properties. So they went to my grandfather and said, okay, we want to sell. And he said, absolutely not. You cannot sell. You're going to regret it. Your kids will regret it. Let me take on the management for you. And so third-party management was born. So today, we're now 3 generations into that story, and we have properties that we own. We have properties that we have partners with. We do our own acquisitions, and we do third-party management. And the business has kind of grown with that mentality that whether we are full owner, part owner, or third-party manager, we manage the building as if it's our own, and we have the long-term objectives of taking care of the building, taking care of the tenants, and taking care of the owners, right? It's all about trust and respect and doing right by the people that own the building and the people that live in the building.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting because we are talking now back 50 years from now. So you guys are in the business for as long as we can remember.
Longer than I've been alive, right? So I've only had my part to play for a certain amount of time, but my DNA is definitely enriched with accounting blood and real estate blood. So.
Okay, yeah. So one of the question I had, so you basically almost already answered, but was how you guys like managed to grow as fast as you are now, but you already basically explained.
Yeah, so there was a shift though. Like I would say, take us back 5 years ago, 2019, 2020 around, right before COVID is hitting, we're managing close to 1,000 doors, multifamily. And I'm talking to my brother and my dad, and we're saying, hey, we want to push the growth. We want to build out this business. You know, this was always like a dream of ours to really become one of the big names in the city. And we said, how do we do this? And, you know, me being a CPA and a very much tech enthusiast, I said, listen, guys, we need a software or a blend of softwares that will help us bring our business into the future and build us an infrastructure that we can scale and grow. So I went to the market, to the usual players, because there really aren't that many products being offered as this all-in-one solution for property managers. I go to the Yardies, the MRIs, the Building Stacks, the Buildiums of the world, and I realize very quickly as I'm going through all of these sales calls and demos that something doesn't add up. You know, the products that I'm being pitched and the experiences that I'm being pitched, they don't line up with what I see the vision of the future of our business in terms of operations, scalability, digital payments, and really just automation. And then they tell me the price tag associated and the implementation timelines and all of the toughness and friction that's going to be involved in getting started and then operating. And I say, no. I cannot accept this status quo. I cannot accept this to be the only option that we have. I need to find a way to build my own solution that matches and mirrors my vision for how our operation should run. Now, I'm no software engineer. I'm many things, but I'm not a software engineer.
But you're in the same field, so CPA, accounting.
Yeah, so
you know the drill.
I know numbers, I know data, and I understood that it was all about how you can connect your people to your data, most importantly your accounting data, that would drive all of these better results, all of these better efficiencies. And luckily, I had a friend who was running a pretty big furniture business and called me up one day and said, hey man, I know that you're a big Excel guy. I know you live in the spreadsheets, live in the numbers. We're using Airtable to run our business. And if you can use Excel, you can build any software you want with Airtable. And I say, well, funny you say that. I'm actually have a vision and a plan and a dream to build a real estate software. That night, I make an account on Airtable and I start with no learning, right? I just start building, and I start building my first database, and all of a sudden, things start snowballing, and momentum starts building, and I start clicking, right? And lo and behold, I spent probably every night for the next year, just building in quiet, right? Building in the background. My everything that I had dreamed of, right? My whole workflows, my databases, my interactions with people, my automations. And then I went to my dad and my brother and I said, hey, I have our product. I have our tool, right? And I put together a 50-page manual. I gave a training to all of our employees. We migrated all of our property and accounting data onto the platform, and we went live with it in January of 2022.
Okay, so you're using already 2 years, 3 years from now.
Yeah, so this is exactly. So January 2022, we migrate our 1,000 doors onto the platform, and then the rocket ship takes off, right? Our team is able to use one source of truth. Our managers have better visibility on their operations. Our accountants have better visibility on their accounting data. Our leadership team has better visibility on the bigger pictures. Our investors and our tenants have a better experience and get better service. All of a sudden, people start taking notes, and the phone starts ringing saying, hey, we want you to do third-party management. We want you to do third-party management. We know you're working for him. They say you're doing a good job. We want you to. And the 1,000 units turn into 1,500, turn into 2,000, turn into 3,000, turn into now over 3,500 units under management, all while leveraging this platform, this software that I had, basically built in my garage using a number of no-code tools without knowing how to write one line of code. So that's really the story of kind of how we propelled the growth. But I think it's not all about the software, because this business is all about people, right? So you could have the fanciest or best software in the world, but at the end of the day, no software is going to unclog a toilet. No software is going to execute a physical inspection. No software is going to be a team that's going to drive leasing or maintenance, right? So it's really the ability that your team has access to the software, that they can execute their job, and it's the people that push the growth. So really, like I always say, like at Lemire, we're about good people and good tech equal good results. And that's kind of been our philosophy.
So you can take the credit, let's say, for the scale, because how you say it's not the main, but it's maybe a big percentage of how you guys before 2019 and now. Is it like, would you say that your product is maybe a big part of your growth at Lemire?
I would say that our product empowered our people. So obviously it's a big part of it, but the number one credit goes to our team and goes to our operators and goes to the people who are actually getting the job done. But what this tool, or what Kompas was able to do for Lemire was it was able to connect the entire team so that they're on the same page and allow them to have real-time insights and access to the data for both operations and accounting. Right, which is so critical because this business happens so fast, right? The months of the calendar, they turn so quick, and your to-dos, they only pile up. And it seems that you can never really get ahead and you're always falling behind. So having a software, having a tool that really understands your business, how you collaborate with the different departments in your team, and how you need to automate certain tasks or certain schedules, that was really the secret sauce that gave our team a real superpower compared to the competition.
Perfect. So there is a lot of like small, mid property management. Some owners do their own. Some they are like between 50 to 100, maybe more. Maybe they want to know. I want to know, but probably also. But what are like the big challenges? Sorry. To grow to scale your business in property management?
Okay, this is a great question. And so it's a funny thing. I'll start by saying this. Properties are like people. Every person you meet is different. They look different, they sound different, they act different, they behave different. What makes them positive or negative is different. Their strengths and weaknesses are different, and it's the same for properties. So when you're starting up small, you're able to have the ability and the resources to treat every property different because it has different needs. You have different neighborhoods, different tenant profiles, different maintenance needs for basically the different systems in your properties. But as you scale, the hardest thing is to find this one-size-fits-all set of procedures that no matter what property you onboard will be able to fit. And it just doesn't exist, right? So what you have to do is you have to simplify your life and create a system of accountability that you can monitor your team, your properties in real time to understand where the issues are before it's too late or before it has a cost impact on your bottom line, right? So it's all about creating systems of accountability, whether it's leasing, renewals, maintenance, receivables, financial reporting, correspondence with stakeholders or tenants. You need to have a system, an infrastructure in place that allows you to put into the machine new properties and that that, hey, I'm going to be covered on my monthly basis and I'm going to be able to do a responsible job for my clients, for my owners, for myself. But that's the hardest part, is changing from the mentality that I can customize every little detail for all these little properties to, hey, I have way too much on my plate. I cannot change how I do it for certain people because I need to do everything the same way so that I can have a process and a system of accountability.
Okay, let's talk about your tech startup now, Kompas. First, why the name Kompas? I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, so great question. So we're coming up with this name, right? I take a big Bristol board, a bunch of different colored Post-its, and I start writing different things on the Post-its. One of them is our mission and vision. One of them is the personality of our company. One of them is the legacy of where we created, right? So you have words, like family and legacy and history and third generation. And then you have personality words like, intuitive or simplified or, reliable, trustworthy. And then you have our mission and vision, which is to empower and to guide and to lead. And I looked at, I had this big Bristol board on my kitchen wall for about a month, trying to brainstorm and get inspiration from these words. And I wanted to find a noun or an object that encapsulated a lot of these words. And it was actually me and my wife who we were talking, and we said, a map, a guide, a compass. And then he said, I like the sound of compass. Now, there's 100 different companies named Compass, so how do we get our own spin on it, right? Because we really felt that the compass is really a simple guide that is so reliable, but so easy to use. And that's the idea of our software, is that we want it to be so best in class, but so accessible, right, for anyone on your team. So it goes back to my grandfather, who is from Poland, right? And I go and I look up, how do you say compass in Poland? And it's Kompas is the translation. So
the same word, but not
so the same. It's the same word, but the Polish translation. So it was perfect because it paid homage to, my late grandfather, who was the one who started the whole real estate business for our family, while also visually representing the object that was the heart and DNA of our company. So that's the story behind Compass.
Okay, so let's dive into it and just understand what are like the difference between your software and another management and accounting software.
Okay, perfect. So the market right now is split into two types of players. We're going to call the first pool of players legacy players, and the second pool of players niche players. So legacy players are these 30, 40, maybe 25-year-old softwares that have been here for around a long time and do the all-in-one. They do accounting, lease management, maintenance, but the way they're structured in terms of infrastructure, database, usability is so archaic. It's so much friction. It takes you 14 clicks to do one task. It takes you, you need a PhD in data science to be able to, pull a rent roll or to process a payable. And it's just so clunky and so full of friction. So those are the legacy players. The niche players, they're much more modern feel. They rely heavily on a cleaner UI and a cleaner experience for the users, but they focus on a very narrow-minded feature set. So, for example, we're going to do your turnovers, or we're going to handle your online credit card payments, or we're going to handle, your service ticket system. The problem when you have all these niche players is that they're different databases with the same set of data, right? You have your properties, you have your tenants. So managing your properties and your tenants and your leases and your payments in 5 different databases becomes overwhelming in terms of administrative and labor, right? So it becomes not feasible to use the legacies because you can't scale and you can't use it effectively, and you can't use all the niche players because too many logins, too many systems, you get lost in the sauce. So where we differentiate is that, hey, we have all of the robust features that you need, that all of these legacy players are offering to you, but we've packaged it in such a clean, usable, and modern way that I kind of always say, hey, we want to be the power of SAP, but the feel of Netflix, right? We want you to be able to turn on the app without any background, without any training, and just look at it. And if you know real estate and you have properties, it's intuitive. It's, obviously this is where I'm going. This is where all my action is, and this is where my real-time data is. So it's like that mix of both worlds, right? Having the back end and all the features, but with the real ease of use and usability.
Yeah, because in my short experience of in property management, I saw the growth, and in the growth you kind of always like look for more CPA, more people in account. Like I don't know. There is a lot of people in the company I was working. The more people were on the accounting section.
Yeah.
Is your software looking to have maybe more people in accounting?
So the reason why all of these companies are so heavily staffed with CPAs is because it is normal that the CPAs in your company or the accountants are the only people who know how to use these legacy systems, right? So if you're a property manager, if you're a maintenance manager, if you're a leasing director, you don't know how to pull data from the Yardies of the world, and you need to call your accountant and say, hey, can you pull me this, and that? And they're the ones who are going to go and do 28 clicks to get you the 3 reports that you need, right? And that's why, as you scale your business, you know, it's one thing, your properties are always going to need on-site staff when it comes to leasing, maintenance, management, right? But what people forget, or what people underestimate, is the back office requirements, right? Everything is driven about NOI, net operating income, right? And all the actions that you do at your building, renovations, renting, preventative maintenance, tenant relations, all of that is driving your financial performance of the property, right? Everything you're doing, you're trying to increase the net operating income and the value of your property. But who calculates that? It's the debits and the credits. It's the accounting system that you're using, and it's the accounting team or your back office team that is processing deposits, processing payments, comparing actuals to budgets, right? So if your system, if your accounting infrastructure is so difficult to use, you're going to end up having way higher labor costs on your accounting team, because how else are you going to be able to calculate or quantify the performance of your properties?
Yeah. So on this side of the on the side of the cost, you said. Can you just explain us how you guys work for the cost? Is it
for the fees of the software?
Yeah.
So how we operate is our fee structure is based on the size of your portfolio. So we're designed, you know, for a portfolio of any size. If you have a duplex, if you have 500 units, or if you have 10,000 units, we can support your organization with all of our different roles, access, controls, and whatnot. But all of our pricing is based on a per unit per month subscription to our platform. So if you have 500 units, let's say, it's going to be, let's say, $4 a unit per month, which is $2,000 a month. What that's going to give you is unlimited users to the platform. And you could assign the users as property managers, property accountants, maintenance managers, investors, right? And they all have different roles, different access to different parts of the portfolio. On top of that, obviously, we are a fully fledged payment processor. So you can process all of your rent collections, whether they're through Interac e-transfer, credit card, pre-authorized debit, or traditional one-time debits. So there are transactional-based fees to processing those payments. And we are also giving you the ability to do digital leases, right, which will cost your standard Quebec lease rate, as well as the ability to do credit verification reports. So we're talking about prospect applications. So you can run credit, you can do ID verifications, and you can do also income and asset verifications through our open banking platform, right? So as far as fees, you're going to get your standard license fee, which is per unit per month. And then based on your transactional volume on payment processing, credit reports, leases, you'll have a transactional based pricing on that.
Yeah, makes sense. So you can also do a lease on your platform.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a big difference.
It's really like, not only can you do a lease, but you can do your rental application, right? And this is one of the biggest things that I love about the platform, is that everyone wants to have a tenant portal. Everyone wants to have tech to help them interact with their residents. But residents don't want to be bombarded with 8 different options, and they want to keep it simple. So what the beautiful thing about Kompas is that you're coming to my apartment and I'm using Kompas. You want to apply, you're going to do the application through Kompas, right? If you get approved, now you're already in Kompas. This is where you're going to sign your lease.
Okay.
This is where you're going to pay your deposit for your first month rent. This is where you're going to receive correspondence about your move-in, about the logistics, about the building rules, right? This is where you're going to be able to make your service requests. And this is where you're going to be able to modify your payment details, whether you want us to do credit card, e-transfer, or pre-authorized debit, right? So all one place, but you're getting the buy-in from the prospect at the rental application phase, which is so critical because once they're signed, sealed, and delivered and they moved in, they're going to be less likely to want to adopt your portal, your app, because they're saying, hey, I'm already here. I'm just going to call the number that I have when I have a problem, and they're going to call me when I haven't paid my rent on time.
Yeah, so no need to go on Block Solution to do a lease. No need to continue to talk on Messenger or on email.
Yeah.
You know, like no need to go to the office also to pay.
Yeah, or everything can be done through one platform. And the beautiful thing is that this platform is connected to your accounting and banking brain. So when the tenant executes a payment on the platform, not only does it get deposited into your bank account automatically, but your account receivable gets updated automatically as well, right? So we're talking about real hours saved and real costs saved in terms of better collections, better cash management, and better net operating income.
Okay. Did you receive any feedbacks because you only launched it 2 months ago, I think?
So we're launching the product in January.
Okay.
Obviously with Lemire as our flagship customer. And so I started the marketing about a couple months ago because I really wanted to speak to other operators in our community and hear what their current pain and struggle is with the current solutions, and to show them that there's a better way and that Kompas can be an opportunity for them to bring their real estate operations into the future. The results have been so encouraging, right? People, like you said, are using 7 different tools to make a lease, to do a payment, to reconcile accounting, to do maintenance tickets. So
especially the small one, the small businesses.
Yeah, for sure. So the opportunity to consolidate all of your processes on one reliable accounting brain is very, very exciting for people. There's been a lot of positive feedback on how the app looks, right? Our demo is kind of impressing people in terms, oh yeah, it's sleek. People love that you have the ability to use almost every function on the phone as well as on the computer, right?
Oh,
because
nice.
Life happens at the buildings, on the road, on the go. Real estate and multifamily is 24/7. So I hope for your eyes, you're not on a computer screen 24/7, but we know that the mobile phone is a huge part of being able to be agile and being able to be quickly responsive. So we're very excited. We're building up a nice roster of potential beta customers for our first year launch. And our plan is to really listen to our customers and hear what matters most to them so that we can build out future iterations and future changes or improvements to features in our product.
How do you manage to both be in parts of the management Lemire and also for your tech startup? Do you have 2 offices? Do you have 2 teams completely?
It's a very great question, and the real answer is that I don't have the time to do both as much, and I don't want to, right? Because when you're divided, your focus is divided, and your output is a result not as good as it should be. So when I made the decision that we were going to go forward with Kompas last year, what I needed to do is I needed to hire somebody who could fill in my shoes at Lemire. And I was so fortunate. I found an amazing guy. His name is Daniel. And I hired him about 1.5 years ago. And we spent a year together where I showed him everything that I do. I taught him everything I know about the business. And he was just like, to be honest, he in a lot of ways, he has surpassed me in terms of, his organization, his understanding of the business, his ability to lead and manage a team and standard operating procedures. So to answer your question, I'm not able to manage both, right? My focus right now is primarily on Kompas. I'm still involved in Lemire at a high level, and I speak with our clients, I speak with our leadership team. I'm in the loop of the growth and the continued growth. But my focus is really on bringing Kompas to the market, because I know that will be the single greatest thing that can help Lemire continue its growth. But yeah, it's difficult because you're only one person and you only have 24 hours in a day, and you want to have a certain balance where, I have a family, I have a young kid who's 6 months old now, so there's a lot of things to juggle, and you have to really, for your physical and mental well-being, have a plan and have a support system of people that you can rely on so that you can manage it all.
Yeah, we're gonna end up very shortly. I just have, once again, thank you so much.
Of course, no, this has been great conversation.
For being on the podcast. I just have, three quick questions.
Sure.
The first one will be what advice would you give to any property management to maybe shift from software to yours? What will be like the deciding factor?
So a lot of people are hesitant to change because they say, hey, I've been doing it this way for so long and it works. You look outside, you're going to see buildings everywhere. These buildings were here before you and they're going to be here after you. So you don't have a gun to your head saying you need to change or else you're going to fall behind. But the reality is that when I look at real estate, one thing is clear about the value driven in real estate. You make an upfront capital investment, and over time, you continuously reap the benefits of that big capital investment. So 6 months of pain leads to a lifetime of gain. I look at software the same way. Everyone's scared to migrate, everyone's scared to change, to learn a new system, right? But when I look at it, hey guys, you can take 3 months and go through the difficulty of migrating and onboarding a new system and then reap the benefits in terms of performance of your properties, cost savings of your operation, and infrastructure to scale for decades in the future, right? Every industry around you has completely revolutionized the way they're using technology over the last 30 years. Why are you still using a software that was built 30 years ago for your operation? What makes you so special that you don't need to adapt to the times? Your customers, in terms of your investors, are more sophisticated. They want more transparency. Your tenants want a more digital experience. Your team want a more mobile and collaborative experience. So why limit your scalability and your growth because, this is how we've always done it, right? So look at it like a property investment. Make the capital investment, bite the bullet, so to speak, so that you can reap the benefits for generations to come.
No, yeah, sure. And at some point, you're gonna need probably to change if you grow, if you have more people, and in my experience, I already saw like maybe 2 or 3 changes of software, of management and accounting software. Everyone is looking, to how you say, like to scale and to have a better management for sure for their company. So
definitely,
yeah. To finish, so what can listeners expect from your startup? Any updates? Any exciting development maybe? And
so we're gearing up for our launch in January. But I think what the most exciting thing is that I'm doing this publicly, right? I'm sharing on LinkedIn every step of the way what we're building, how we're building it, why we're building it, and the success or the failure that's going to come with it. So I think it's super interesting for people, whether you're in real estate, whether you like entrepreneurship, to kind of get a behind the scenes look of, hey, I'm a guy from Montreal who has real estate in his DNA, solving his own problem and building a company in public to solve other people's problems as well, right? So I think that's the exciting part. Obviously, it comes with pressure, but like I say, pressure builds diamonds, right? So we're looking to build a diamond. We're looking to make an impact for landlords and property managers all over the city, all over the province, all over the country and beyond. So that's what's exciting to stay tuned. You can follow me on LinkedIn. You can visit our website, kompaspm.com, to see updates, to learn more about our product. And like I said, I'm an open book. I'm a guy that's looking to build the network, to tell the story, and to share. Like I said, whether it's a massive success or I fall on my face, you could tune in for the ride.
Yeah, And you respond also very quickly on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So.
listen, I try. Like I know, you know what it is. It's that people put themselves out there, and I know it's difficult. Like even you putting yourself out there to do the podcast, to message somebody who you don't necessarily have a big relationship with.
Yeah.
It's intimidating and it's overwhelming. So I think that, you know, to be positive to those interactions and to say, hey, it's not only is it okay to put yourself out there, but it's encouraged to do so. So that's why I like to respond. I like to treat people with respect and encourage them to, hey, go after what you believe in.
And why not? Because, you know, no regret. So just do it, and you never know what's going to happen after.
100%. You never know what conversation is going to lead to which door, window, opportunity. So the only thing is for certain that is if you say no, then it will lead to nothing.
Yeah, the door will close.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna end up here. Thank you so much,
Cory Friedman,
for being on the podcast. Thank you for everyone who's listening on Spotify, Apple Music. The podcast is gonna be everywhere. YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the content. If you have any question, Cory, I'm here also. He's always available. See you on the next one. Thank you.
Amazing.